Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of Afro Economics. And today I wanted to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. And we're going to talk about Afro Economics, our Black Wealth Matters, and why does it matter? And I was going to discuss today, and we are going to get back to it, the actual Indinkra symbols that I have in the legacy edition of the workbook and the book itself. And as I was researching it, I just kind of got carried away, and I said, wait a minute, I think I need to bring this home. We need to talk about why Afro economics itself is important. And then we'll talk maybe next week or so about why I brought in the African symbols, why we need to understand the importance of legacy and our lineage and our history, and why it's a big part of our financial well-being. So our Black Wealth Matters. Did you know that whites have 12 times the wealth of blacks? And this is according to an Urban Institute report that was done, and these numbers are from 2013, and it shows that the typical white family has accumulated more than 134,000, with blacks having 11,000, and Hispanic families having on average 13,000. So according to that Urban Institute report, that we're pretty low down there. And Afro economics is about why it's important for us to close that gap, that we're going to have to be the ones that are going to have to do it for our family. So I want to just kind of explore what's going on in the report, what was found, because I am a very, very positive person. As you'll see, check out the app, AfroEconomics app on your smartphone, so that we can really keep in touch. I really try to focus on solutions more than problems, but I think it's very important that we focus on and the reality of we have to get involved with the Afro economics principles. We have to get involved in a program, and that's why God encouraged me to articulate it through the book, to organize our thoughts, and to set up the 10 principles of Afro economics to just give us some things to work on. Because when we look at these numbers, it says that the older that we get, the bigger that gap, the bigger the gap. So the research shows that, when you're looking at blacks between 30 and 40 years old, then compared to whites at that same age, their wealth was about 98,000, where our wealth was at 13,000. And remember, wealth is your assets minus your liabilities. So there could be a person who has, what appears to you as having less than what you have, because you might have the car, the house, and all that stuff, but they may not be worth anything when you look at that asset minus what you owe on it, where they may have purchased their home with equity, having a down payment, having money to put into that home purchase, where you may not have that. So you basically, by purchasing the home, you still owe everything that if you tried to get in with the minimum amount down, which we're encouraged to do, unfortunately, then you don't have any wealth there. So you could actually buy more things on credit and end up with having less wealth, even though you have that look of wealth. So you have the wealth gap is getting larger. So when you look at the white family between the ages of 50 and 60,000, the report says that they had over 300,000, where the black family at that age had 38,000. Scary, right? And if we break it down between black male and black female, the numbers will get even more interesting. So this means, it says in here that this means that whites are better able to enjoy a comfortable retirement because they're getting older. They're having, a much larger amount of money. Where you look at from 30 to 50, it was showing that the black only had like still 3 times as much. Both of them have 3 times as much, but when you have 3 times as much of a smaller amount, Well, so we got to figure out in between that 30-year-old age and getting to retirement, what can we do? Well, come to the AfroEconomics website, talk to a financial advisor, hopefully give me a call, email me at jb@afroeconomics.com. Reach out, get the help that you need to turn this thing around. Get the book. The book is great. Get the workbook. It's even available. But the workshops, I'm telling you, they will get you excited. You know, we're all trying to do better. We know that if you don't make some serious changes, that the wealth gap will continue to exist there. And we're not really just comparing ourselves to just white investors. What we're saying is that you know, they might not even be saving enough, but they're saving more. They have more available. And typically, the research shows that they generally receive inheritance. They're much more likely to receive an inheritance. And that's why the first principle of Afroeconomics is legacy. It's figuring out why you're doing what you're doing. I think that we have to really soak up that sense of family, that sense of I'm important, that sense of, you know, finding your value and focusing on, you know, that you do have value. And that's why I have every dollar that I spend really does matter. It says that it also shows that debt makes a big difference. Here's what it says. In recent years, Blacks have taken on more student loan debt than whites. Some 42% of Blacks aged 25 to 55 have college loans compared to 28% of whites. So we're getting the school loans, but this takes it home. Wow. It says, but Blacks have lower graduation rates, which leaves them saddled with the loans, but without the benefits of a college degree. So they don't get the income, they don't get the full investment, they don't get the return on the investment so that they can pay the loan off because our graduation rates are lower. It says this hurts their climb up the economic ladder. And that's it's very important. That's what I have in Afroeconomics. I have the section when we're talking about knowledge and investing, that we need to really understand that going into debt for your degree is an investment. And I think we've just kind of accepted it as an understood that we just go to college. Well, we really need to be, you know, more careful because, you know, there's a lot of people out there right now, I know that you're listening, that you know that your school loan debt is holding you back. It's stopping you from being able to save as much as you could save. And it also notes in the study that if we are at a job that does have a retirement plan available, unfortunately, we are less likely to participate. Afroeconomics is about us understanding the tax benefit, understanding a big part of it. Principle number 4, knowledge. We have to, once we understand, you know, that one old lady told me one time, and I don't know why I even use the term old lady because I'm old to a lot of you. The one grown lady said to me one time, she said, when we know better, we do better. But not necessarily true, right? Because I'm not a lot of people that know better, but they still don't do better. So you want to be, no matter what age you are, that you want to do better, and you want to make sure that you're learning constantly. As you'll see back there by Think Like a Millionaire posted that I have in the back, that we have to be lifetime learners. I have that in the front of our mindset. It's about developing that mindset. So I need to change that because really, we're going to have multiple millions of dollars. We're going to have to really, really begin to think in decades. We're going to have to think about what can I do during my lifetime that will make sure that I change this trend, that I change it, that I can help, because the whites are less likely to have school loan debt because they're more likely to have someone to help them pay for school. So when we're going to school, and if you're like me, I had to pay for school, and I came out of school with a school loan. But we have to learn, what do we do? Well, first thing I did when I got out of school was I attacked it. Then when I wanted to go into graduate school, I worked full time and went to school, graduate school at night. And I was working somewhere that helped pay for the tuition. I was paying for the tuition and did not take out a loan at that point, because you're working pay for the school, do what you got to do, but realizing that everything is an investment and that debt will slow down your ability to build wealth. Look at what the other points were. I said that I told you about whites give more inheritance, and that's about that legacy planning, and that's September 10th. And Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, in my office there, we're going to have a workshop on building your legacy so that your family, your people can receive. That's Afroeconomics. We want to make sure that every generation, that it becomes a staple, it becomes a part of our life, that we are financially wise people and that we are contributing drastically to this economy. Now, it says, Blacks have the largest school loan debt. Yes, indeed, 42% of Blacks have college debt. I shared that with you. Blacks don't get as much help from the government because of their lower income. Isn't that amazing? You know how much they tell us that we, are more likely to when they're talking about these set aside programs and stuff like that, that this is for, Black people because you're the ones that benefit from these type of things. That is such hogwash. Look at this. The bottom 20% of taxpayers in terms of income received less than 1% of federal subsidies for home ownership or retirement. Check it out. Less than 1% of those federal subsidies. So a lot of times I have these home ownership programs, but if your income is so low that you can't qualify, or you don't have the savings in order to qualify, or the debt to income ratio was so low that you still don't qualify. Or remember the last time they were doing this big push with tax credits and all of this about home ownership, and then at the same time the federal government increased the credit score requirement. I mean, really? So you had all of these people tightening credit, lowering people's credit lines on their credit cards. So all of a sudden their credit card was maxed out without their even knowing. It went from $5,000 or available to a $2,000 credit card that you had $1,900 on already. Well, that hurts your credit score, and that happens a lot to people of lower income. That happens a lot to Blacks. That you're relying on that, but we're not going to do that anymore. So a big part of Afroeconomics, we have 10 principles, and I don't know if I've ever said in any of my videos how we are going to knock this out. We are going to get rid of the wealth gap. That Afroeconomics is about developing wealth. It's a strategic program to develop wealth within the Black community in America and abroad. We're going to diminish this. We are going to get us right there past, and everybody's going to think about, wow, Black people really are serious about their finances. They are. We can do this. The 10 principles of Afroeconomics are developing your legacy, becoming financially independent, because number 2 is financial independence, because I think that when we think about retirement, we think about that being too far off. No matter our age, we can set as a goal financially and being financially independent. Number 3 is organizing and planning, making sure that everything is organized. Number 4 is increasing your knowledge. 5 is integrity, and having integrity in all of our business practices, and making sure that you surround yourself with people with integrity. And then number 6 is reviewing all of your financial situations regularly, especially number 8, which is the making sure you check your credit and having credit confidence. But number 7, my personal favorite, very important, The Fearless Entrepreneur. And the next book, I have a children's book coming out in September, but the book that I'm working on as well is about the fearless Black entrepreneur. So look out for it. And so number 7 is The Fearless Entrepreneur. Number 8 is credit confidence. Number 9 is determination. That's what's going to do it for us. That's what's going to turn it around. This morning I thought to myself, doubt hit me right in the face when I woke up. We got to be careful with doubt. So I put on my Facebook wall today, I said, doubt has killed more dreams than failure has ever. And it's so true. That is exactly what we got to get rid of the doubt. And at that very moment, when I needed it, I got an inbox talking about, can you help me with my retirement rollover? So, hey, don't doubt yourself. What you're doing is making a difference. I want Afro Economics to make a difference in your life. Look, I am Afro Economics. You like my t-shirt? So go on AfroEconomics.com and order your t-shirt if you like it. I got some V-necks finally because I'm not feeling the whole regular like round neck turtleneck. I'm round, but a turtleneck, hey, I like that. We got to do that next. But I am Afro Economics, and I want you to be that too. And the 10th principle of Afro Economics is Black health and Black wealth. And you would be amazed how health issues contribute to this gap. We also, and this information from the Urban Institute, the Urban Institute report didn't share, but we tend to retire earlier. Unfortunately, you'll see in my chapter 10 some information from the National Institute of Health, some reports that show that, Blacks are more likely to have a health issue that will take them out of work and face a disability, early in life. And the older I get, the younger, earlier life is. Like, I used to think like 60 years old, 70 years old was like, oh, wow. But now I'm like, wow, I don't really want to be healthy at that age. But what you do now, I don't care if you're 20, what you do at 20, feeling and living, and where your wealth is at 60 and 70, you got to be healthy. I don't care if you're a superstar. You see people in Hollywood, and because of health issues, it will cut their career short. You want the same, you think you're ordinary, but you're not. We're each extraordinary, and we have a lot to contribute to this world. Thank you for sharing your Wednesday with me. And check out the app. Make sure you get the Afro Economics app. Go to AfroEconomics.com. Click also into the corporate website if you want to find out about the different services that we provide. We do all insurances, all investments, everything. We do it, even your car insurance. So make sure you allow Afro Economics with JB Bryan to help you save money and financially empower yourself and take advantage of the workshops in the next one, September 10th, that's live, and the next session, God willing, I'll be back Wednesday and with more financial empowerment for you there. And have a wonderfully blessed day. Look forward to the opportunity to serve you. And I'm JB Bryan of JB Bryan Financial Group. I'm the President and Chief Investment Officer of the home of Afro Economics. Goodbye.